Zevachim, that's Tractate Zevachim. We're on page number 42, here recording this, here in the city of Bet Shemesh, just by the famous Sorek Street in of itself, to share over some amazing words. We've been talking all about sacrifices at the time period of the Bet HaMikdash, respectively. And once again, we're talking today about sprinkling the blood in the inner sanctuary. Now, we learned about previously, I believe on page number 39, if we go back to Lamatet, which we spoke about several days ago, within regards to that, there is a basic difference between the sin offerings that were brought on the outer outer altar of the Bet HaMikdash. Those brought on the inner altar is called the Mizbeach HaZahav, the golden altar of Bet HaMikdash, respectively. So that's what we're learning about back in page 39, which is very, very important in today's page, here on page Mem Bet, respectively, over here. Now, regarding, let's just say, over here we're talking about regarding those that were brought on the outer altar, like, for example, the sinner offering. That was one of the korbanot that they would bring inside the Bet HaMikdash times of a nasi. We're talking about the president's sin offering over there, or a king, or an ordinary person. And we actually had to look at it in Parshat Vayikra, I believe in chapter number 4 it was, where we learned about all these. Parshat Vayikra, also in Sefer Vayikra, obviously. I think verses 22 to verses 35 would actually expound on it in a great amount of detail over there. Even if the actual requirement was to sprinkle the blood of, let's just say, the sacrifice 2 times or 4 times. If one sprinkling was done, this would suffice. This would be sufficient over here and would be okay. On the other hand, those offerings that were brought on the inner altar, like the sacrificial service of the Yom Kippur, the sin offering of the Kohen Gadol, the high priest, let's say, of the sin offering brought by the great Sanhedrin, which we spoke about, especially on the first page of the Gemara, and also on yesterday's page, we spoke about it. The Sanhedrin one was on behalf of the entire congregation. That, once again, is concentrated on Pasukim number 3 to number 21 in verse number 4 of that specific Parsha Vayikra. It needed all of the sprinklings to be done, not just one, all of them properly, or else it would be, let's just say, the sacrifice was invalid, respectively, over here. Very, very interesting enough. Now, the question is actually posed over here. How many sprinklings were done on the inner altar? That's a question that's actually posed over here. Now, the Gemara on today's page of the Gemara, today's Daf, brings a Baraita that is actually going to continue, that teaches that on Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement itself, there were as many as 43 placements of blood that were, let's just say, were performed, I believe, in the course of the sacrificial service at that point in time, the code of conduct, while the sin offering of the high priest and the Sanhedrin on behalf of the entire congregation each had as many as 11 placements to it. Since all of these were essential, there were very, very important requirements of the service of the avodah in of itself, which was going on. If the Kohen, the priest, had inappropriate thoughts at any time during the service, this will, let's say, invalidate this korban, this sacrifice procedure, and how detrimental that could potentially be with regards to the korban. Now, Rashi is going to weigh in, the great commentator who lived about just more than 1,000 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. He explained that there are 43 placements of blood that there was on Yom Kippur as follows. He's going to illustrate it in a very, very good way over here. So he explains 43 placements. So what is that? Now, first of all, 8 times, that is 1 plus 7. What were those actually towards? They would sprinkle that towards the cover of the ark, the cover of the Aron. It will be given in the Holy of Holies, the Kodshei Kodashim. That would be over there. And we actually have to look back, I think, on page number 38, where that will expound on that specific topic in itself. Now, from the blood of the bull, which is actually related over also in Sefer Vayikra, that would also, that will be, so that's 8 times, 1 plus 7. Now, 8 times, 1 plus 7, once again, towards the cover of the ark in the Holy of Holies, from the blood this time of the goat as opposed to the bull. Once again, this is, I think, featured in Vayikra in chapter number 16. In verse number 15, it will actually relate over within regards to that. Now, so we've got 8 and 8, that's already 16. Then another 16 times, let's say, repeating the barb sprinkling. So that entire first 2 stages will be now repeated again together, which is actually related over here. So that will be another 16 times. And I think this will be towards the curtain, so separating the holies of holies. Once again, that will encompass chapter number 16. Once again, this time verse number 16. Then 4 times to make it up to increase the number to 36. What is the 4 times? The mixture of the blood of the bull and the blood of the goat that were placed on the 4 corners of the altar. This is actually featured now in verse number 18 within regards to chapter 16. And the final 7 times will be the sprinkling of the altar to purify it, which is actually related over in the next pasuk in in verse number 19 here in chapter 16. Very interesting. So we can see the entire order of the sprinklings, and Rashi has beautifully, let's say, encompassed it. Now, with regard to 11 placements of the high priest, of the Kohen Gadol, and the Sanhedrin, respectively, there were 7 sprinklings towards the curtain, and there was 4, let's say, there were 4 placements on the corners of the altar, which actually related, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, in 2 parts of Parshat Vayikra. I think actually in chapter number 4, respectively, on verses 6 to 7, and also in 17, 18, respectively. But very interesting. We're going to talk about tomorrow about, let's say, dealing with the limits, let's just say, to inappropriate thoughts in sacrificial service. But at the moment, this entire tractate, let's just say, in of itself, is like an encyclopedia of korbanot. What's the code of conduct that someone does in the korbanot? How many... all the different insights that we have. There's famous books like you can get out there on concentrating on the Bet HaMikdash, on the temple itself, of the avoda, the workings inside the Bet HaMikdash. What was the structure over there? What did they do when they were bringing a korban? What were the thoughts that were giving? Where would they have to sprinkle the blood? There was a whole process. If someone was sacrificing an animal, so many different avodot that was done towards it, so many different workings to do it. And whatever jobs were done had to be done in the correct fashion, the correct orders to itself. I remember, I think it was about a year ago, at the time period actually of Parshat Vayikra and Tzav, respectively. I remember sitting with one of my sons. We were learning it on the Shabbat, and it was a beautiful diagram his rabbi actually portrayed within regards to different steps. It could be like, say for example, someone has to bring a sacrifice. It's not that simple. He just brings a sacrifice to the Bet HaMikdash temple. There was many different steps where he would have to, for example, there was salting, there was a handling it over, there was putting it inside the kli, inside the utensil, the sacrifice in of itself, and many other beautiful steps that would actually entail until they have it. Remember, some of these korbanot were sacrificed all to Hashem. It was like burnt offerings. We talked about guilt offerings, sin offerings. One of them was a shlamim, the peace offering. And some of these offerings can be eaten by various people. Some of it was given as gifts to the priests, to the Kohanim, respectively. Okay, so it's not so simple where someone just brought a sacrifice for a specific reason to the Bet HaMikdash. There was a specific reason behind everything, and a whole thing. And we just came out to the Jewish festival of Sukkot just a few days ago, and we spoke all about the Bikurim, how it was like an event to bring a korban, a sacrifice to the Bet HaMikdash. The Bikurim, for example, they would come 3 times a year during the 3 pilgrimage festivals, Pesach, Shavuot and Sukkot, walk with jubilation, with baskets of first fruits of Israel towards the Bet HaMikdash. And it's a process. So the process of bringing korban itself is not just arriving there with a thing. It's leaving the house. It's paying for the animal to bring it, all the workings to do it. And that's how many of the korbanot, the goal would be to bring about a teshuvah process for the person. And a teshuvah process, a repentance process in of itself, it starts right from the beginning. It's not just one turns up to the Bet HaMikdash. It's all the different steps that is actually, let's just say, accompanied on this specific mission to try and do teshuvah and to try and bring the korban respectively over here. And that's what very much we're encompassing today on this daily tidbit of the Daf Yomi. Now, we've already recorded 41 videos on this tractate already. It's a much longer tractate than the previous few that we've recorded recently. We came out of Horayot quite recently. We came out of, we did Makot, we did Shavuot. Horayot was tiny. This stuff in of itself, I think, encompasses. I'm just going to put this over here just so that we can chat for another minute. It's always good to be with you fantastic people on the internet. This tractate, I think, is going to last about 4 months approximately. So very, very interesting, action-packed, action learning in of itself. And yeah, amazing. We're going to have a lot of great content actually coming up for you fantastic people out there, all the great listeners. First of all, thanks very much for the brilliant feedback I'm getting constantly from these videos. We're doing tours all over Israel here. As you can see, today we recorded another tour here in Eretz Israel, which is nothing like exploring the archaeology and the sights and the scenes of this beautiful country. That's the first thing I would say. We're recording also, obviously, every day a Daf Yomi tidbit, a bit of inspiration from the Talmud. Now, another large, let's say, a section of this channel is to explore the history of the great rabbis of yesteryear. That's something that we are concentrating and very proud of, that we're doing this at the moment, where we've already recorded about biography videos of approximately 1,200 rabbis, great rabbis from Ottoman places, Spanish places, North African places, Asian places, even Ethiopia. We will concentrate on, which is very good. And we've done this, let's just say this daily tidbit every single day. I'm just going to offer someone a ride. Wait, hold on. Yeah, where are you driving to? Yeah, I'll take you. I'm doing a live video, so I'm just about to finish off at the moment. So we're in Dolev, which number? 24. So that's at where is that across?
Across from Supermarket.
So which one, best or are you? Yeah, sure. Sorry, I've got the mazgan on. Yes, so friends, everyone tuning in at the moment. Yeah, so I just urge everyone, please subscribe to the channel. We are nearing at the moment 7,500 subscribers, which is a phenomenal achievement. Every single day, a daily tidbit just to power the day. And we recorded different Jewish personalities in current era at the moment also, which is another special treat here on this channel. So yeah, so let me know. If you type in any of the track dates, you should find at the top will come up, and where we give over this burst of wisdom and everything else. And watch out, we're going to do tours over here. We did a video also of the weekly Torah portion, the Parashat Shabbat. It's going to be Parashat Noach, as we've just come out of the Jewish festival of Sukkot. And we're actually obviously heading, or we are in now, in Hebrew month of Cheshvan. It's obviously a key time period also, friends. We're going to do a long video for the Hilula of Rav Ovadia Yosef, which is going to be in the next couple of days. I think it's going to be on Shabbat, friends. So wishing you all a Shabbat Shalom. Take care and be well. Thanks for watching.